um, screen wiggle. Just trying to get everything set up and it's not cooperating. All right, let's bring this down a little bit. Okay, so today we're going to make this really beautiful alternative card. And so we'll just wait a little bit before we get started, see if anyone comes and joins us today. I'm going to get on to my computer and pull up the video, make sure everything is streaming nicely. Looks like we have some people joining us. If you're here, you can go ahead and leave a comment letting me know you're here and saying hello. All right. Looks like we've got lots of people on. Hello, everybody. So glad you guys are able to watch me live today. So those of you who are watching the replay, welcome to Creative Chelsey. Today we're going to be making this fun alternative card. And I wanted to share with you a fun technique on using the stencils. And so you will, to replicate this look, you will need to have some extra materials, more than just what came in the kit. So let's go ahead and talk really quickly about those. So I'm using the Shimmery White Embossing Paste. And you also need, I like to use a silicone craft sheet. Let me turn my notifications off. All right, so I like to use the silicone craft sheet when using embossing paste. It's just really easy to clean afterwards. So you don't want to use something you want to keep. So if you don't have this, you could use like a paper plate as well. And then you're going to need your stencil. You can see here that I've used it. The embossing paste will sometimes leave a little bit of a residue. Also, it kind of scratches it up a little bit because of the glitter. And so just make sure you clean it right after you're done using it so you don't get any chunks, because it does dry pretty quickly, which is a nice for projects like moving on to the next step. And then you will need something to color the embossing paste because it does come in white. So I'm using Pretty Peacock, a re-inker. So those are the extra products you'll need to get this look. Now, if you don't have these and you want to just sponge it, you could do that as well. And you can check out my previous video where we talk about how to use the stencils with ink and the sponges that came in the kit. So today's just a little more stepped up technique with the stencils. So I'm really excited to share this with you today. Looks like we have a lot more people joining us. Hello, hello, everyone. So glad you're here and that you enjoy my alternatives. This one I just really love. I love the simplicity of it. I love that little bit of glitter that comes in that shimmery embossing paste. I think it's just a really beautiful card. All right, so just as a little note before we begin, if you are new to Paper Pumpkin is a crafting subscription kit that is from Stampin' Up. This month's cards, you could make 4 in each of these designs. And over the past week, I have shared some alternative ideas using those contents in the kit to make different cards. So if you're interested in seeing those other alternatives and you're watching the replay, hopefully there'll be a link up here in the top right corner, or down below in the description, you can click on the playlist and it will share with you all my alternatives for this month. If you're interested in getting your own Paper Pumpkin kit, you don't want to miss next month's kit. It is called So Cool, and it's going to come with everything you need to make 12 fun shaped cards with coordinating envelopes. And you can kind of have a little sneak peek at some of the imagery that might be part of that kit. So if you're new to Paper Pumpkin and would like to subscribe, there's also a link below in the description box where you can get your own kit for next month. So don't miss out on this. It's going to be a really fun one. And I'm sure the alternatives are going to be great as well. All right, so let's get started. A couple people have mentioned on the comments, don't forget to do a thumbs up on this video. And I do appreciate it when you give me a thumbs up or comment. It's just really nice to know that you guys appreciate these videos that I put out. Thank you, everyone. So glad you guys are here joining. So let's start with this background so that it has some time to dry. The craft paper comes from the Kraft Envelope that is in the kit, and I've used the front side of the envelope, the nice flat side for some of the other cards. And so today we're going to use this back piece. So this is the piece where the extra flap is on. So we're going to cut this down to 3¼ inches by 4¼ inches. To do that, you just want to cut right along this flap. So we don't want any thick pieces. So just line that up with your cut line. And now we can start to cut it down to size. So 3¼ and then rotate to 4¼ Okay. So that piece is all ready to use. And I do need some scratch paper. Let me grab that. That's just going to protect my work surface. Okay, I'm going to move the card off to the side so I don't accidentally stamp or get anything on there. These scrap pieces get put away. All right, so whenever I use stencils, and I mentioned this in the video yesterday, I like to use washi tape just to hold everything down. So make sure you place the washi tape in an area where you're not going to place the stencil. So for me, that's going to be down here at the bottom. And then a couple pieces that will hold the stencil in place. So I want the heavy stars to be at the top, and I'm just going to line that up and then place the washi tape on each side, just like that. So everything is holding still, so there's no shifting or moving happening. So this is a new jar of the Shimmery White Embossing Paste, and you'll notice that it likes to expand when you open it. So what I do is I usually will just open a small area, and I did get like a, I think I had it upside down, so I got like a burst of paste. But you don't really need to open up the whole thing because this dries pretty quickly, and so you don't want too much exposure with the air. So just pull out maybe like a full teaspoon or so of embossing paste, and then make sure to tighten that on so that you don't, so that it lasts a little longer. I've had some old stuff that went dry in the container, and that was really sad. And then just add 1 drop of your re-inker, and you could use any color ink here. I just have the pretty Peacock, and it coordinates nicely with the pine tree cutouts that come in the kit. So this is the pretty Peacock cardstock. So I wanted to use the same color. It is going to lighten up just a little bit because it's with that white paste. So then you're just mixing that together with one of the, what is this tool called? It is called a palette knife. So you're just mixing that up until it's nice and smooth color. Look at all that beautiful shine and shimmer. Can you see that? Love it. So pretty. So then you just grab some on your palette knife and then start at the top and just smear it over your stencil. It's pretty easy to use, and you do want to make sure you use enough paste. So you don't want to skimp on the paste. Make sure you have enough on there. And if you have too much, just go ahead and do another one. So then you can make a couple of these cards. Okay. Beautiful. And then once you're done with that, you can remove it, and you have this gorgeous, I'm not touching it quite yet, but you got this gorgeous pattern. Isn't that so pretty? And there's a little bit of texture to it as well, so it kind of raises up off the cardstock. It's gorgeous. Okay, so a quick tip is you do need to now clean this. And so I'm not going to take some time to clean it, but I'm going to run this into the sink really quick and put some water on it. So just give me 1 second. Okay, so that's just going to soak for a little bit. If by chance that was to dry on there, it's just really difficult to get off. So we're looking back at our card while that dries. We're going to do our stamping, and we can start to, I did do one earlier, so I do have one that's already dry, so we can put that together without having to wait too long. All right, so let's start with the stamping. I do have a piece of thick basic white cardstock. It's been cut to just my normal card base size, 5.5 by 8.5, and scored at 4 1/4. I'm just going to go ahead and fold that along the score line and then use my bone folder to make a nice crease. And then I'm going to stamp this pine tree image along the edges here. So let me grab more scrap paper. I kind of keep all my old messy grid papers so that I can use them as scrap paper as I need them. And I'm going to use just the full Mossy Meadow ink pad today, but I do have a Stampin' Spot that came in one of my Paper Pumpkin kits. So if you're a consistent subscriber to Paper Pumpkin, then you should have this color. There's a quick question about the paste. How long does it take to dry? Not very long. So if I was to touch the one we just did, it would be drying. Like by the time we're done making this card, it should be totally dry. I just didn't want to have to wait, and so that's why I did a second one. Okay, so I'm going to stamp these about 3/4 of an inch from the bottom of my card base. So using my grid paper, I'm just going to go up 3 little squares and then stamp this down. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and do a second generation stamping right here, just to kind of give it a little more depth. Remember, we did that on our card the other day too. I'm just going to kind of smear off some of that extra ink so I don't get some weird colors happening. There we go. And then do the same thing on the other side. So 3 little squares up, and I'm going to kind of focus on the small pine tree now on that side. Oh, and then I'll just do another little one right here. That should probably be enough. Okay. You could, of course, do more, but the middle cardstock piece kind of hides everything. And so if you wanted to get more going up, you could do that as well. But I did do an extra dark one there on this side, but I think this little one's positioned a little better than my first one. So there's that. You'll need a piece, one of these pine tree cutouts from the kit. Just be really gentle with it. Should have done this before. Okay, there we go. And then we'll need a cloud, a yellow cloud, and a pink cloud. And I love how these clouds are positioned behind the trees to kind of give it like a foggy morning, misty morning kind of look. So that's really fun. And then you'll need the large rectangle. However, I used all of mine up, so I'm going to just use a strip of cardstock. Let me grab that. So I usually will hold on to my 1/2 inch strips, and then I can just stamp my greetings on that. This rectangle is 2 1/4 inches in width or length. And so I'm going to go ahead and cut that. So it's a 1/2 inch by 2 1/4. Oh, I've got ink on my finger. Let me find something. Sorry, guys. That's the thing about lives, right? Is you never know what you're going to get. Let's try that again. So 2 1/4. There we go. So let's go ahead and stamp this, and we're using the Calypso Coral. And again, I'm just going to use my large one. And I did pull a different greeting. So you could do any of the greetings that came in the kit. So we've got the happy birthday. We have this really fun here's to you one you could do. So any of those are really great options. I wanted something that was a little more adventurous. And so I grabbed my Well Said stamp set. And this is a great stamp set. You can see here that it actually comes with 2 cases of stamps. And this one has, I'm not sure if it's actually retiring or not. I really should check that. So for those of you who may know, Stampin' Up's coming out with their new annual catalog. And so they have put out their last chance list. And so I need to check and see if this one is going to be there or not. Oh, I just see a comment from Tracy. She says it is retiring. So if you like some of these greetings, you may want to jump over to the Stampin' Up website and grab this stamp set before it's gone. But there's got this really great one that says time for a new adventure. So I'm going to use that today. So going to place that on my strip. And I've just added that to a clear block. And I'm going to stamp it right in the center. Maybe. I'm going to flip it, try it again. It was a little bit low. Okay, that's a little bit better. So let's check on our masked. Yeah, so this is pretty dry now. So we could go ahead and use that. So it doesn't take long at all for that to dry. So let's start putting this card together. Just add some adhesive to the back. And then you're just going to center this on your card. So it's about a 1/2 inch on each side and about 3/4 of an inch on the top and bottom. And then we're going to layer. I'm just going to place some adhesive here and just place that down along the bottom edge. And then I'm going to layer these pieces on. So I'm going to start with the yellow one and just tuck that behind. It's going to kind of come off to the left a little bit. Just like that. Kind of like a misty mountain look. And then the pink one is just going to go below that a little bit. But we do want to have it, we want it to overlap just slightly of that yellow. So I'm kind of placing it right below that cloud line. And stagger it just slightly as well. Maybe just a little bit more. Well, it's stuck, so we're good to go there. Okay. So you do see how we staggered them, and it is overlapping that yellow. And then we can go in with some glue dots and tack down the trees. So just kind of gently lift up those trees and place a glue dot behind them. This guy's going to have to come down a little bit further. And then I'm just using the pointy end of my Take a Pick tool. And then just making sure everything is stuck so that nothing pulls up and is torn off my card. Okay. And then I'll do the same thing over here on this side. Just kind of tack down this little end here. Looking so cute. And now we're going to add our greeting with a little bit of twine. So I've got 8 inches of twine here. You could go up to 10 if you need a little more. And just find the center and tie a bow. And then I'm just going to place that actually on my card, because I do want it to be right along the edge here. So kind of along this edge and about halfway between the land and the sky, I'm going to add the bow. And I want it to, doesn't really matter which direction it goes. I just want to be able to see it. And then let's add this with some dimensionals. So I do have just a regular sheet of dimensionals right by me. So I'm going to pick those up and just snip off, probably do another little piece over here. So just snip off a row or place a couple on the back just to hold everything in place. And then just add that to this side. I'm having it come off of the middle cardstock just slightly and over the pink clouds just slightly. So everything is overlapping and it kind of steps down into that greeting. Super cute. And that card's all done. It really is so fast to make. The hardest part is just waiting for the embossing powder to dry. Embossing powder? No, that is not what it's called. The Shimmery White Embossing Paste to dry. So I hope you enjoyed watching me create this fun and beautiful card today. If you're interested in getting written instructions and seeing close-up images, you can visit my blog at creativechelsey.com. Don't forget to hit that like button. And if you're interested in subscribing to Paper Pumpkin, the link to subscribe is listed below in the description box. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye-bye.